Hey guys, good morning. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I've restarted this video several times and I can't get myself to do the usual big smile good morning thing. I've been rewatching these, I've been watching the videos from the impeachment. The reports of the conversation between Tuberville and Trump. What Pence's bodyguard was carrying. The football, the suitcase. Looking at these videos that never came out of the offices being just trashed, broken wood, just destroyed. And again, this isn't some 7-Eleven in Portland, some dollar store, in Michigan or whatever. This is our country's capital. And you see the tens of thousands of people there that day. And yes, some of these people, maybe 50 or 60 of them are going to be called out for it, going to be arrested and whatever for it. There's the bigger picture here. These people didn't just appear out of nowhere. As I watch all this, it's just unbelievable. That the most unbelievable thing is that the Republican senators could just turn a blind eye to all of this. Obviously, something enraged all these people that gathered there, and I thought about this some more too. They profess that their votes were stolen, that this election was rigged and it was fraudulent. And I thought about this. If this was a valid claim, if this was any kind of valid claim, there'd be avenues to go down where there would be evidence. And people, if there was any evidence, the least bit of evidence, somebody like William Barr would notice it. The FBI, somebody would notice it. And there'd be legal avenues to go down to investigate it. But that hasn't happened because there's been no valid evidence whatsoever. There's been misrepresented videos here and there where a truck or a suitcase is, these bizarre claims are made and people believe it. And I think about how these people ended up at the Capitol that day, and they're we live in the United States of America. There should be legal avenues to go down so this doesn't get to this point. Like I said, if there was any valid evidence that what they believe happened, we'd go down those avenues. But they ended up there because there was no evidence. There was no legal proceedings. This was all thrown out of every court they went into because there was no legal evidence. These people were kept being told, though, that more people were in on this. William Barr was in on this. Pence was in on this. And the legal avenues were shut because there were no legal avenues, because there was no evidence. This is how they ended up at the Capitol that day. They kept being fed this story that they were being screwed over, their votes were being stolen. And and like I said, in America, you'd think that there's legal, we have a system here, so it wouldn't get to this point. I think the reason it got to this point is because they were fed lies. They were, that's the truth of it. If there was any evidence, this would have gone down another path, but it didn't because there was no other path for this to go down. There was no valid evidence. So they all ended up there that day, still being pushed to the edge of their limits. They were still being told that, you're being taken advantage of. Your America's being stolen out from underneath you. And they all ended up there that day. And I look at the Republican senators just saying, we should move on. Basically, nobody should be held accountable for this. And we all know who. The fact that 3 senators met with the defense team in private yesterday. The actual jurors, the people that are going to judge whether or not Trump is guilty of anything, met with the people that are defending him to work out a strategy. Is what is that? It's a joke. I'm glad this impeachment took place because at first I thought it was a waste of time. You know, we all know what's going to happen. The COVID-19 thing's going on, the stimulus. We need to get to other things. Trump's out of office. We'll just move on. But I'm glad. Now that I've seen all this video and the mountains of evidence on how these people arrived at that place on that day, in that state of mind. There can't be any clearer evidence to it. The fact that now with this evidence that came out yesterday, that Trump talked to Tuberville, and Tuberville said on the phone, I have to go. Pence is being evacuated right now. And then Trump got off the phone, and knowing that his vice president is in danger with the nuclear football in hand, our country. Now this nuclear football couldn't be used because of codes, but it could easily, all the prearranged situations are inside that suitcase. They could be given to anyone. All of our secrets are in that suitcase. And Trump continues to say that his vice president is a traitor and should be taken to, it should be held accountable for this. Are you kidding me? That's what happened. We saw the evidence yesterday. He got off the phone with Tuberville and then he went right to his Twitter and hit on Pence harder. And they show the real time stretch. And the crowd starts chanting their chant with Pence. And there's an actual gallows outside at the Capitol. This isn't some riot on a street corner and at a 7-Eleven being destroyed. This is the actual attempt on the vice president and the nuclear codes that he has in his possession. Are you kidding me? And the senators, these Republican senators, have already made up their mind. No, he's not guilty. We'll move on. He's a private citizen. If a private citizen did this, if anybody in the United States did this, what he did, they would spend the rest of their lives in prison. He's a private citizen now, so let me get this straight. He can't be held accountable and impeached because he's not president, and he can't be held accountable criminally because he was president when he did it. So basically, he gets off the hook. He was president then. He's a citizen now, so he can't be charged. Wow. And the Republican senators can't use this old excuse that this is how their constituents feel. They're just voting for their constituents. We're not talking about the constituents here. We're talking about guilty or not guilty. That's the question at hand. Looking at the evidence, looking at what happened, is he guilty of? Should he be impeached or not? That's the question. It has nothing to do with your constituents at home. That's not the question of what they want. Doesn't matter if they think he's not guilty. The question is, do you think he's guilty? And one-third of the Republican senators didn't even attend parts of the hearing. One of the senators supposedly sat at his desk with a map of South America, filling in the names of the countries. Seriously. Just pretending to look busy, comically. Ignoring the evidence. Just ignoring it. So nobody will be held accountable. The people, the scapegoats, the people that actually were inflamed and lied to and used as pawns to do this, they're going to pay for it. The little guy's going to pay for it. Oh yeah, he's going to go to jail. The person that had the whole big picture, the reason this whole thing happened, why those people were all there that day, no, he can't be held accountable. He was president then. He can say whatever he wants. But he can't be held accountable now because he's a private citizen. So he's innocent. This is the thing. If we just let this pass and say it's okay, it's going to happen again in the future. Because if we don't call out the guilty source of this, it's going to be an avenue to use down the road because it worked. If he's not held accountable, that means it worked. That means he got away with it. He tried it. It was a gambit. He tried it. Maybe it didn't succeed, but maybe next time it will. We'll try it again. Nobody was held accountable. Hey, I tried to rob a bank, but I got let off. You can go home. You know, you were a private citizen. You know, like you tried to rob a bank, but you're not held accountable for it. So why wouldn't you try it again? Why wouldn't somebody else try it? That's the real question here. I'm glad they held this impeachment because it is showing who these Republican senators really are and who they are working for, and that's themselves. Pence had the nuclear football, and these people came within 100 feet of him and his family. True story. And not only that, Trump encouraged it when he knew he incited it more after he got off the phone with Tuberville. And it worked. In real time, you see the supporters chanting. And Trump knew he had the football, the nuclear football at that point. Tell me how much he loves America. Tell me how much he cares about America. You gotta be kidding me. If you still believe that.